Hello and welcome to my little channel. Today is October 26, 2020. Now, the past week I've been watching YouTube videos about the stimulus package that seems to be stuck in Congress with no path of going anywhere anytime soon. Now, reading some of the comments, it's become painfully clear that people don't know how our government works. But I'm going to discuss three levels of it. The first one, which is going to be city county level. So this right here, this website is courseslumenlearning.com. It's kind of a brief description of what it is. So county governments serve a larger geographical area than cities and towns, but are smaller areas than states. They are created by the state government and typically operate under the provisions set out by the state constitution. As such, they are essential administrative units of the state. Census estimate from 2012 indicated that there are just over 3,000 counties in the United States. County system usually takes one of the three basic forms: the commission system, the council administration system, or the county elected executive system. The most common form of county government is the commission system. Under this structure, an elective commission, which generally consists of a small number of commissions, serves the governing body within the county, performing all legislative and executive functions. These include adopting a budget, passing county resolutions, and hiring and firing county officials. That's just going to be a part of it. I'm not going to read all of it. So this is more of like in the state of Texas, we have city ordinances and we also have um, county ordinances. So let's say Travis County is under a fire burn. That means the city of Austin can't have any fires because the county supersedes the city. There's also some a little bit more politics involved in that, but generally speaking, a city controls the cities within the border, and since the city is within the county kind of not necessarily oversteps, but oversees those the areas that are not within the cities, but still have authority over the city. That's why sheriffs or the county sheriff can go into these different cities, and the police cannot go to the different cities. Like for example, Austin police officer can't go into Round Rock, and vice versa. A Round Rock police officer can't go into Austin because that's covered by the county. But of course, both of these have big impacts on how you live your day-to-day life. So they're very important to keep in tune to your local, especially your county and your city government, because they may come up with um, resolutions that will go against your interests. Like here in Austin, the city council decided to defund the police or just reduce the funding for them. And they put a hiring freeze on all new cops and pretty much killed the police academy. That goes against public safety. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's also a county judge that's up for, well, not really up for election. No one actually ran against this one, which is more of a left leaning person that's probably won't be charging people if they're part of a particular group. So these are things that are really important to understand when we're talking about the government. Uh, Also, the next one is going to be your state level. Now, the state governments of the United States are institutions, units by the United States, exercising functions of government and at a level below of the federal government. Each state government holds legislative, executive, and judicial authority over a defined geographic. So basically, a state is a mini country. That's why if you go to, I don't know, Missouri, the drinking age is like 18, and you go over to Florida or Texas, the drinking age is 21, because the state actually creates state laws. Now, keep in mind, the city county do not really make laws; they make ordinance, um, which are kind of finable offenses. Now, on the state level, these are where they can actually make laws and actually really impact you. Now, keep in mind, both the state level and the city, county level also affects your tax rate as well. So they could actually impose another tax on top of the federal tax. That's why a lot of the sales taxes are different between the state, between the cities, because each county has their own set rate that gets added to it. And that's why, like, say of Texas, you got one sales tax rate, and you go to New York, it's really high. Also, that's why say of Texas doesn't have an income tax, and other states do. So once we understand that, so they're there to pretty much make sure to keep you safe, build roads, put in policies that are going to hopefully encourage growth of a city and state. That's why a lot of states do tax credits for big businesses coming in, because that means more jobs that are available at a higher paying rate. So they kind of give them a tax discount, a tax credit. They also are in charge of the local health care as well, making sure hospitals stay open and funded. So both of these play a really more important role into how you live your life. They'll directly affect you immediately. Then, of course, we have the federal government. And the federal government, let's see here. What does the federal government do? Let's go ahead and go to here. Only the federal government can regulate interstate and foreign commerce, declare war, and set taxing, spending, and other national policies. Now, this is a little bit different than the state level and city level taxing. This is the taxing on the federal level, and this is to do on the federal spending that covers the whole United States. Kind of like the stimulus bill, which isn't really a stimulus bill, it's more of a major bill, which encompasses the whole of the United States, which would be divvied up and given to each state. Now, a state can't do this for the rest of the country, but a state can raise money to help its residents. And I encourage every state to do that in this pandemic. It'd be a lot quicker. So let's say, state of Texas, let's say a third of its population needs help because businesses are shut down. The state could actually step in and help those people through the money that they raise in taxes in the rainy day fund and help them. They don't really need the permission of the federal government. However, they cannot send that money to another state, if I understand correctly. That's crossing interstate commerce. These actions often start with the legislation from Congress, which is made up of 435 member House of the Representative and 100 members of the United States. Each of the 50 states receive 2 senators, regardless of population size. The number of representatives each receives depending on the state population. So that's the House. That's why the House has 435 and the Senate has 50. So this also goes into play with the Electoral College. Why you have some states that have 3 electoral votes is because it counts for 1 for each senator and the number that they have in the House of Representatives, and the minimum is 3. A bill that Congress approves then goes up to the president to sign into law or reject with a veto. So the president really is not there to create laws. They're there to sign into law or veto and say it's not a good bill, and they could kick it back into Congress. And that's kind of like where we are with the stimulus bill. Both the House, the Representative, and the Senate have to come together to pass a bill before it gets sent to the president. So really, the president can have influence over the way that goes, but he's really not part of the actual coming up with the bill. So the executive branch is responsible for enforcing the laws Congress makes. It's made up by the president and his or her advisors, as well as multiple departments and agencies. The departments of each headed by a secretary who the president appoints with the advice and consent of the Senate. That's why we have a Supreme Court justice being confirmed, because that's handled in the Senate, and that's a lot quicker process than a stimulus bill, because a stimulus bill, since the bill is considered a prenup to a law, so it's only the Senate that's in charge of appointing these. So it's a lot quicker, a lot cleaner, so it doesn't have to go to the House, so the House has no say into it. So that's why they're able to confirm the Supreme Court justice. The U.S. has more than a dozen departments that each take a specific set of duties. The Treasury Department duties, for example, includes printing and regulating money. The President also serves as a Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces. That means the President can direct how military weapons will be used, where to deploy troops, and where ships are sent. The military generals and admirals take their directions from the President. This is kind of a graph. Oh, yeah, it's not going to reload, but it doesn't matter. But so pretty much, the president really can't declare war. He can negotiate with other countries, create trade deals, which will be confirmed within Congress. Congress will have to do a declaration of war before the president can really send troops. So hopefully this is a quick lesson. I don't really want to go in great depth because there's actually a lot more to cover. So that's why if you see me in the comment sections in a couple of videos, that's why I'm so hard on local governments for staying shut down, because it's their responsibility to make sure those things happen. It's really not up to the federal government to make policies that affects the state level. That's why Trump doesn't appear to have a plan, because he deferred that to the state, and that's the way it was supposed to be designed. Is like, I mean, there's an argument made since it's a pandemic, it affects the whole nation, so we need a leader there. But he's actually letting the governors manage it. And with that, I think a lot of the responsibility should fall on the local government, on a state level, on the governors. So hopefully this is just a quick lesson. Don't want to go on too long. Hopefully you learned something, but most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.